astronomy is a very growing field right now in India. Do that and make sure that high school mathematics and high school physics, these two things you are learning conceptually. So physics, or because astronomy is such a subject that you need everything, or everything of physics, classical mechanics, quantum mechanics, thermodynamics, statistical mechanics. You can go for integrated PhD in IUCA, Inter-University Center for Astronomy, and IIA, that is Indian Institute of Astronomy.
Hello everyone, welcome to EduCanteen. Today we are going to discuss about career in physics, mainly in astrophysics. And for that discussion, today we have with us Sayantan Bhattacharya. Sayantan, welcome to our show.
Hi Shubhajit, thank you for hosting me and thank you for having me for this nice and very entertaining conversation.
To start the session, Sayantan, please share your journey with us.
Yes, of course. So right now I am a PhD student in physics at University of Massachusetts, Lowell. Before that, I did my undergrad, B.Sc, from Banaras Hindu University in India, and then I did my master's, M.Sc in physics, from Central University of Hyderabad, same from India. After that, I joined here in 2018 to pursue PhD in astrophysics. So my specialization is in high energy astrophysics. I have done my research and I'm continuing to work on black hole astrophysics, massive stars, and many other aspects of this.
To start, please give us an overview about the career in physics after MSc. What are the career opportunities in physics, in education and in job also?
Yes, right. So physics is a very versatile subject. So if we start to discuss about different aspects of the job and career opportunities, so we can majorly divide them in academia and in industry. But then also even in industry you have government and private sector jobs. So let me start with academia. That is the one that I'm right now pursuing. So I will start with that. So the direct way to get involved is you do a MSc and then you try to look for a PhD position, and then you get involved in research. For that, you will have to attempt for CSIR NET exam, and there is other exams like GATE exam, or even the institutes like the ISARs, IITs, and NICER. They take their own individual entrance test. So all these are ways that you can get involved, but the most important one will be, I would say, CSIR NET, because through CSIR NET you get JRF, and then so on. You can get a good amount of fellowship from that. And the institute fellowship, it's like depends on the institute if they want to give it to you, and then it goes through a lot of process. So I would say the safest way to have a JRF, and then you can apply to any institute with that JRF fellowship. And then once you have that kind of fellowship, then you apply to those universities or institutes, and then you want to clear their interview or their entrance exam. Then you get the chance to choose a topic. Now, choosing a topic is basically when you are applying to that institute, you should have prepared your mind that, okay, maybe I want to do research on this, and this faculty is already doing research on this topic. So you talk to him, send him an email or go and talk to him. And then once you are selected for that position, PhD position, you can get together with him, and he will be your guide basically, and he will help you out with PhD. So that's the way. And then you keep doing your PhD for maybe 5 years, and so that is the way you get a PhD. And then after that, you can either try to start applying for jobs in academia, but the general way is you try to do a postdoc. So after a PhD, you do a postdoc. Postdoc is basically like a research training, I would say. Like you have done a PhD, which is a degree, and now you want to apply those knowledge and skills, and you gather skills on different kind of uh, aspects of your field. And so doing a postdoc doesn't mean you will exactly do it on your PhD topic. You can diverge a little bit and then gather your skills, and then after you have done a few years of postdoc, you can apply for assistant professor jobs, and that way you are in academia. Once you are assistant professor, you got a job. That's the way in academia, one of the ways. And so now let's talk a little bit about the industry jobs. I can circle back to academia again, but this is a straight cut way for academia. So now for industry, one thing I would want to mention is for the government sector jobs, you can apply in GATE exam, and through GATE there is chance to get jobs in BARC, DRDO, ONGC, all these government sector jobs, PSUs. You can get job there after M.Sc directly, so no need to do Ph.D. And those are also scientist positions, so they're kind of scientist and engineer combined positions. And then this is a way of going into government sector industry. Now let's talk about private sector industry. So in that, you need to gather skill set. Gaining skill set is very, very, very important in getting a industry job. So one of the thing will be, yes, right. So one of the things will be computer skills, soft skills. And the other thing will be like hardware skills or skills with instruments. So when you are pursuing your master's degree, in the last year of master's degree, I would always suggest that, so there is generally a 6 months of project or 1 year of project duration, where you do a project under a faculty in your university. Most of the university has this as their curriculum, that you have to do a project. In that project, I would suggest you take some applied project, such a project that uses some applied techniques, where you can, if you want to go to industry, that means you want to do something that is directly applied to society or industrial works. Right. So in that case, you should take an applied project, so that you learn some instruments. Like in physics, I would say take a project that involves 3D printing, maybe, or using some of the facilities like XRD or many different kind of material sciences. If you are working on, or if you are working on electronics, do some project that involves fabrication or something that is more applied. Yeah, right. And that will give you a strong CV for applying to industry later on. And then again, computers, if you're not very interested in doing hardware jobs, then that means you want to do something computational. So in that case, in that last semester, go for a computational project, and make sure that you at least learn some basic level of one language, like maybe Python or R or C, C++, whichever you want, but choose a language and stick to it. That I need to learn at least the basics, so that you can at least you can write an algorithm and then perform it. So that's the basic ways to make your CV better and apply for industry. So for industry jobs, you can apply through LinkedIn. So make a very good LinkedIn profile. That's a important aspect of applying for jobs. And then talk network. Next part is networking. Whenever you meet someone in any place or conferences or anywhere, talk to them and know how they get there, whatever they are doing, and what are the opportunities for you, what you can do with them, how you can help. So by this, you get a good network of people that you can later approach for your job and other aspects of your career. So yeah, network, that is the important part.
So, and as you are doing PhD in astrophysics, so I will want to know more about that. So what are the opportunities for astrophysics if someone want to do in PhD, like PhD in astrophysics? So is there any opportunity for PhD, M.Sc or PhD? I want to know in three phases, like PhD, for M.Sc and for PhD, both in India and outside India. And here also, from that, one more thing I want to know from you, that comparison of like what are the benefit from you if I do higher studies in India or outside India?
Right, right. Very good question. So let's start. I'll give you a bonus. Let's start from class 12.
Okay,
Let's
okay.
go back to higher secondary. And I'm telling that because astronomy is a very growing field right now in India. I mean, because right now the people are very interested in astronomy. If you see back 10 years back, and if you see now, because of Instagram, Facebook, and all those uh, social media, you will see more and more people getting involved. Like recently, I'd give an example. There was this Venus and Moon occultation event.
Mhm.
If you see the number of people who put up pictures of that uh, phenomenon, and then they start to know what is this dot under the moon, what is that bright spot, then they come to know it's Venus. So people are getting more and more interested, they're showing interest. And as a whole, in India at least, astronomy is growing in a very good pace. So apart from academia, apart from uh, being a professor of astronomy, there are other aspects that you can uh, be by after doing a PhD in astronomy or pursuing a career through astronomy. So let's start from high school level. As a high school student, what you should do if you are interested in astronomy. So I would suggest that as a high school student, you should reach out whenever there is a astronomical workshop going on. Many times, like Birla Planetarium, for example, in Kolkata. So they organize workshops. Like they will give small talks, so videos, or maybe they will sometime organize like a night out with stargazing with telescopes. So try to get involved as a high school student. Even I don't think that will be very tough if there are local science clubs. Get involved with them, try to learn the very basics, like very basics. What are the constellation? What are the planets and basic things? And the way you are getting involved with them will give you a better view later on. So from high school level, you should do that and make sure that high school mathematics and high school physics, these two things you are learning conceptually. Like there is one aspect is you prepare for entrance exams during your high school, but I would emphasize on the fact that please uh, read and understand the concepts of physics and uh, high school mathematics. And nowadays there are many YouTube videos and many resources, so go through them. And so in high school, the best thing to do is get involved, learn different kind of tricks from the masters in this planetarium and all those places, and make sure you learn the concepts of mathematics and physics. So now that you have gone through high school, let's talk about BSc, bachelor's. So generally, the preferred way to enter astronomy is there is no. I don't think there is any BSc in astronomy right now in India, like BS in astronomy or BSc in astronomy with honors like astronomy honors. That is not a thing. So general way would be you would want to do a BSc in physics honors. So do a BSc in physics. I think you can also do BSc in mathematics and then do MSc in astronomy, but I would say the general way is BSc in physics honors. And so that is a 3 years course currently, but then maybe in the new education system it will become a 4 year course. And in that case, that will be a different scenario. But right now you do a 3 years in BSc. So in BSc again, I would give the same suggestion. If you can get involved, if your own institute, that if you are studying in a college, there is a chance there is not much research going on. So find out the nearest university or research institute. And if you can do a small project, like a very easy project, 3 months or 6 months project with a professor in that institute, like get involved with their work, maybe do a little bit data analysis, learn about it, a very basic work, do that. And that way, so my point is that at each step, get a little bit more advanced and get a little bit more involved in astronomy research. So if you are in near West Bengal, Calcutta region, so there are a lot of good work going on in SN Bose Research Institute. And in then the universities are there, like University of Calcutta University, then Jadavpur University. So you can go and find out where there are some astronomy research going on, and then talk to them in BSc level. Otherwise, focus on your coursework. Make sure you understand all the aspects of physics, because astronomy is such a subject that you need everything.
Right.
Everything of physics, classical mechanics, quantum mechanics, thermodynamics, statistical mechanics. You need all of them. So there is no cutting short opportunity. You have to read all kind of uh, subjects for getting a future later in astronomy. Now, let's say you have done a 3 years BSc and you got a chance to do a project. If not, that's not a big deal. You just keep on doing what you used to do. Go to star camps and astronomy camps and talk to people. Now, let's talk about MSc. So there are some programs which has astronomy focus. So after BSc, you can go for integrated PhD in uh, IUCA, Inter-University Center for Astronomy, and IIA, that is Indian Institute of Astronomy. So these are like astronomy specific institutes. If you go in there with integrated PhD, MSc PhD, that case your coursework will be focused on astronomy. That will be very good because you are getting a solid foundation on astronomy and also some other topics in physics. So that is the best way to get involved in astronomy research. And because it's an integrated course, the next step will be you will be in PhD degree itself. So that's the best way. So you will have to appear in JEST exam. There is JEST exam for that, and then through JEST they take students in this university. Most of the time that's the way they do, but they also sometimes have their own entrance. So you can clear that and then go to that. That is one of the ways. Another way is you find a ISER, the ISERs that they also have some of these programs, but they are not astronomy focused. So there you will have to do a coursework that is more complete with other stuffs. Maybe you have to study laser physics, you have to study solid state physics, which is not bad. I mean, this all gives you a new perspective of physics. But in general, if you want to be more focused on astronomy, you should go to this IIA or IUCA, all this university. But what not? What if not? You don't go to this university. You go to a university. Like I did my master's from a central university. That is a more general course, like a master's in physics. In it is just master in physics, not masters in astronomy or not integrated PhD in astronomy. So when I joined, my target was that I want to. So I wanted to do something in high energy physics. That was my target. I was not very pinpointed on astronomy, but so you can figure out what you want to do by the first year of MSc. Take your time to do the courseworks, and but one thing is very important that you try to get a summer internship. Getting a summer internship during a MSc course is very important. That is the first step towards doing a major research. In BSc, if you remember, I said do minimum research, like just a basic start. But I would say in MSc, get involved in a 6 month or 3 month project where you can do major research. So in that case, in summer internship, there is IAS, Indian Academy of Sciences. They publish this opportunity each summer where you can apply to. It's a one form you apply through it, and you can apply to lots of institutes.
Yeah.
So there are faculties who enlist themselves as mentors that I want to mentor a student, and then you apply as a student, and then you can talk to them, and then if you get that chance, that is the best way to get an internship. Indian Academy of Sciences, they give this opportunity. Now, apart from that, because that is a paid internship, they pay you some amount of money each month, and you get the opportunity to uh, research in a lab environment. So before even doing a PhD, you get to know how a PhD might look like. Do you really want to do a PhD? That things clear up a lot.
Yeah, right.
When you in my experience, I did a 3 months internship in Post Institute Kolkata. So that was the first step when I understood if I really want to be here, be in a lab or be in a uh, research setting. So that opens your eye and that gives you a lot of perspective. So try to get a summer internship. If even if it's free, like they're not paying you, which is unfortunate because you are doing some work, you should get paid. But it's tough in India. There are multiple factors going on. So I'd say even if you are getting a free internship, just for the experience, do it, and that gives a good experience. So now MSc, we are talking about kind of like the last step in MSc. In the final year, make sure you do a project. Most of the universities require you to do a project. As I was mentioning earlier, most of the universities require you to do project. In final year, make sure you do a project and try to do a project in such a way that you understand how publications work. Write your research work as a paper. I mean, they require you to write a thesis sometimes not, sometimes just write a slide and present. But try to write a paper. If you can, that is good. You will make a publication. If not, still you learned how to write a paper. So that way, so following these steps, you are ready for research when you are going into PhD after masters. So after masters, now your turn. You look for PhDs. Now comes your. I think I can come to your last question where I talk about PhD in abroad and India, because we are done with masters. So I'll add one more point. After masters, sometimes it's not necessary that you jump into PhD. You don't need to jump into PhD. You can take 1 year or 2 years off if you want to and do a project. Sometimes there are advertisements in the university websites that there is this project position open. You can go in and join for a project, do one or two. This gives you experience as job. So sometimes there are positions that are like scientist positions that are for master student. You don't need a PhD for these positions. Like these are government job positions. So you can apply for them. You have a master's and you get 1 or 2 years experience. Use that experience and they ask for it. So their eligibility criteria is masters in physics and then 2 years experience in relevant field. So this is the way you can get this kind of experience. And then without doing a PhD, even you can apply to these government jobs like scientific assistant in GSI, like geophysics department, all this stuff. So these kind of jobs also exist where you don't need a PhD. Then if you want to do a project, do a project. And then also this project helps you in applying PhD abroad. So I think that's my cue to the next question. PhD in India and PhD abroad. So let's start with India because we have been talking about masters in India till now. So I'll circle back to what I had told before about India, that you have to clear CSIR JRF, or you have to go for the institutional entrance tests and RETs, their research interest test. And after that, you choose your guide, get your PhD and everything. Same thing for abroad, but the tests are different. So the entrance test in India is mostly physics based. NET is physics based, so it is subject based. It doesn't have much. It has like part A is on reasoning and all those, but it's like a minor portion of the whole test. But for abroad, you have to make a little bit more research. You have to do a little bit more research. So for abroad, you have to first plan out which university you want to apply to because it's costly. Applying to each university will cost you like $50-$60. So 4,500 rupees. Sorry, 4,000 5,000 rupees. So you cannot, like a middle class person cannot apply to a lot of universities. So I would say choose a few universities. I'm talking about USA specifically, abroad. Uh, Mostly not Europe. Europe doesn't, maybe Europe doesn't cost that much, but I'll focus on USA mostly because that's what I know best. So I would say you you will have to choose so best way is make a Excel spreadsheet, write down the university that you want to go that has your program like astrophysics or whatever, and then find a person like a faculty who is doing research on that, write down their names in your Excel, and then write down the deadlines when you have to submit the form, because the form is very wholesome. It needs a lot of stuff. So first you choose a university, then you have to appear for all these exams. One of them is GRE. GRE will be like it's a test of vocabulary English knowledge comprehension, everything, and then a maths part. So maths is kind of like, I would say, 10th, 12th level maths, but it's rigorous. You have to do a lot of them in like short amount of time. And then the English will be tough because we are all mostly for regional language speaking students, like from Bengali medium or from Hindi medium or from regional mediums. So you have to make sure you also focus on that, because that part also is half of the exam. So you might be doing full marks in mathematics and then get 60% in that. So that can, so you'll have to study the English part. So those two becomes GRE general exam. Then there is the GRE subject exam that is only for physics specific. Then there is a TOEFL exam that is also English, but I would say TOEFL's level is a little bit less than GRE English, so maybe a little bit easier. But you have to give this exam, like appear all three exams, and then you can uh, apply with these scores of your exams, and then your CV. You need to have a CV. So that goes back to my previous points when I told that make a good CV, make sure you do a project, because all this counts in CV. And then you have to write a statement of purpose. This is the point where you need to make sure you have done a good research on the university that you applied. So you have to make a statement of purpose where you write why you want to study physics or why you want to study astrophysics, why you want to study that at that university, and why, uh, how you can help them and how they can help them, like a reciprocal system. So you have to all write all these things in maybe like 3 pages. So it's like an essay. You have to write that. Then you have to also get recommendations. That's the part where the networking comes to help. So you get all your guides, PhD guide or not PhD guide, but master's guide or your internship guide. You get a recommendation from them, and then you make a packet and send it, like not physical, send it online upload them online. So that's the whole process for getting into US institution. So now that I've covered both India and US institution, how to get into, I think that is the last part of your question. That is, what is the difference between these two?
Yeah.
Frankly speaking, it's your own choice. Like if you want to do in India, do it in India. If you want to do it in US, do it in US or Europe. I mean, there are some different uh, aspects, but it's not life-ending aspects. Like it doesn't mean that you don't get in abroad. It's like ending you there. There is nothing like that. If you want to do a PhD where you like it, not just because you have to do it outside or have to do it abroad. But the fact remains that there are some differences doing a PhD from India and from abroad. And I can share my experience mostly after talking to my colleagues and peers who are still doing PhD in India and who are doing in US. So I would say at one point money and funding matters. US universities has more funding, so you get more funding to travel to conferences, to give your present your research. That's one major point. US universities has uh, this kind of funding that can send you to multiple conferences, even in international workshops. You can attend them using your funding, and that is not a very easy thing to do if you are doing it from India. Maybe once in your 5 years you can apply abroad workshop and conferences, but that's not a very easy thing to do. And then it comes to fund. It actually boils down to funding, because computational resources, most of the US universities has uh, very good access to computation, like supercomputer and all those other resources. But Indian universities may be best of the best, like IISc, IUCA. I'm not talking about them. They have their very good resources. But for state universities or even some central universities, they don't have access to this kind of resources. So these things kind of stalls your research. Maybe you are a very brilliant student, and it doesn't matter if you go to US or India. If you go to abroad, right now I would say there is better opportunities. And then networking. Using universities focus too much on collaboration with industry. They understand what the industry needs. they lets you talk to them, and you can know what's going on. In India, still now, I would say there are many plans coming up on this, but still now it's more academic centric. Like the PhD is centered on academia only. They don't focus on the applied part of it. What I can do after it. If not, I become a professor. What I can do? What else I can do? Like the R&D part, research and development part, that is lagging. So we need to address that. The students need to find out what is the application of their work. Like we are doing a PhD. Even I'll give a small example. Even in astronomy, if you are doing something, you are doing maybe suppose studying a black hole. That doesn't matter, but the way you are doing it, that matters more. You are studying a black hole because you are interested. That's very good. The community is interested. That's very good. But you are in the way you are developing some computational technique, some image analysis process, or some statistics that might be helpful in sometimes biofield. Like maybe the same image detection method can be used in cancer cell detection or something like that. So these kind of byproduct, interdisciplinary part, these things are developing here. Um, India needs it more. I know ISC and all that, they focus very much on interdisciplinary research, but still, I would say this is a major difference. The application of your work that we can see here in abroad.